Hi, my name is Jules. I want to tell you a cautionary story from my life because of which I nearly lost my loved ones. I was my dad's favorite daughter. From childhood, I got used to the fact that Dad loved and indulged only me and performed only my whims. But later she appeared, the Dad's daughter from his former wife. She lived in another city with your mother and rarely came to us. Despite the fact that I hated her, she treated me very well. She always tried to talk to me. She wanted to sit and gossip like real sisters and brought me presents each time on her arrival. But I didn't want her to come and to see her in our house. As soon as she arrived, my parents immediately started quarreling. Peace was lost in our house, and Dad stops paying attention to me and spends all his spare time with her. Since Dad had heart problems, I didn't want to upset him and had to endure it. Once, we decided to go to America for the summer holidays with the whole family. Everyone except Nikki, Dad's second daughter. But to our misfortune, we had to cancel the family trip as Nikki arrived and asked Dad for the money for her studies. She always dreamed of becoming a famous fashion designer. Of course, Dad could not refuse her, so he refused us. I was so angry and I decided to take revenge on her. As a child, she stole money from Dad. At that time, he said that if she will steal money again, he would kick her out of the house. She was very afraid to upset Dad and promised that this would never happen again, and I decided to take advantage of this. I stole Dad's money and blamed Nikki for everything. Oddly enough, Dad immediately believed me, and no matter how much she was trying to excuse, he still put her out of the door. Nikki realized that I did it and left the house, all in tears. I was happy about this, but the sense of guilt did not leave me alone. In recent days, she stopped coming out of my head at all, and I even started worrying about her. I decided to go and find out how she was doing, and I was shocked by what I found out. Due to my stupid jealousy and my selfishness, her future was ruined. She had to become a girl of easy virtue to find funds for her education. I got a lump in my throat from what I saw. I didn't know what to do and how to help her. And since I had no other choice, I decided to tell the whole truth to my parents. When Dad found out about my lies and about Nikki, he had a heart attack. He was in a coma for several days. We were stressed and prayed for his health. He muttered something all the time. It turned out that he was calling Nikki. Hearing this, my heart was bleeding and I wanted to look for her without a delay. I didn't have to look for her for a long time. She was in the same place where I first met her. But I couldn't even look into her eyes. But still, for the sake of Dad, I did it. When she saw me, she turned away and left without saying anything to me. I followed her. Without turning to me, she asked why I was here, and then I told her about everything that had happened. Nikki, with tears in her eyes, looked at me and said she wanted to see Dad. I hugged her and together we rushed to him. At the hospital, Nikki cried, hugging Dad. By some miracle, at that moment, my dad opened his eyes as if he were just waiting for her. Dad couldn't speak, but he showed how much he loved Nikki with his emotions. He was so glad to see his daughter back, and I was happy to see my sister. Since then, our relationships has become much better and we began to spend more time together. Hi, my name is Asya. I'm 20 years old and I'm a singer. I wouldn't have become a singer if not for a special boy. I will begin my story describing how much I love singing and what obstacles I overcome in order to achieve my goals. My parents are qualified doctors, and they both dreamed that I will become a doctor in the future. Actually, they lived with this dream. Every day when gathered at home, they began to dream about my future, imagining me as a doctor, participating in conferences, treating patients, and receiving gratefulness from them. I didn't like their dream at all. It wasn't even interesting for me. Eventually, I refused to become a doctor and failed to meet their expectations. My parents were shocked. Endless quarrels began. They didn't know how to persuade me to become a doctor, and on the contrary, I wasn't able to make them hear me. After all, I dreamed of becoming a famous singer, Since my early childhood, I imagined how people would applaud me and, most importantly, how I would be on the same wavelength with famous personalities and my favorite singer. My parents did everything possible to make me give up on my dream. They even destroyed all the materials related to music that I have collected over all of these years. But I decided not to give up and secretly sign up for vocals. When they found it out, they totally forbade me to sing. I was offended. I cried. And I started to sing to fight my despair. I sang loudly with all my voice, and it helps me to calm down. The whole house heard me singing. And one day, my dad miraculously reconciled with my desire as he saw me craving to sing. But mother couldn't accept that. She still insisted until one magic story happened. There was a little boy next door who couldn't walk. Charity concert was arranged for him, and people came there to somehow help the boy, and my parents came there too. There were different shows, games, and dances, and at the end of the program, our beloved singer was supposed to perform. But as it turned out, she was hurt right before the performance and couldn't come. It was a great opportunity for me to prove my willingness to my mother. I offered to sing instead of her, and the organizing team was happy about it. I went on stage, looked at my mother, and began to sing. Everyone was happy, and even my dad sang along with me. I sang with such a pleasure that I didn't even notice how everyone started applauding me while standing, and I saw tears of happiness in the eyes of my mother. She was so happy and proud of me. As a result, my mother gave her consent, she found me a strong vocal tutor, and wished me luck in the future. So this is my story. I beg you, my friends, not to give up, to protect and to fight for your dream. You will surely succeed.
My name is Mason, and I have something to tell you. My mother and I were always very close. We used to have no secrets, but some time ago she changed, became positive and happy. She started wearing trendy clothes and speaking in the manner teenagers spoke. And all that would be fine if she weren't over 50 years old. The changes were so drastic that I got worried. I decided to find out what had influenced her so much. I began listening to her talking on the phone, following her to the place she worked at and then home. Soon I realized that she had a boyfriend. Yes, she did have a boyfriend, not just an acquaintance or a friend. It was a real boyfriend, about 20 years younger than her. My mother worked at the Jefferson's library, where she might have met that guy. I wanted to be kind to her and force her to open up. Probably I did well because she told me about him. She was excited and optimistic. I found out a lot of details: his name, occupation, place of study. Later, I applied to the police department and learned that he had been connected to an investigation about financial frauds. But he was a witness only. However, the officer I talked to said the guy wasn't the most decent person in the neighborhood. My opinion of this Alex wasn't good either. He seemed to be unreliable, probably a petty crook or at least an easy rider. Of course, my mother didn't want to hear about that at all. She believed he was in love with her and their relationship was real. I tried to understand my mom's feelings and finally decided to let it go. However, then her friends started to worry. They told me she had spent all her money on Alex and even borrowed some. I went to visit him and asked him to stop seeing her, but he said he loved her and I backed off. 15 minutes after I left, my mother started calling me. She was hysterical. As it turned out, Alex didn't wait long to let her know about my visit. Mom cried and explained to me that she wanted to be happy and live for herself, that I had to understand that after 20 years since my dad's death, she finally felt like a woman. I was ashamed and I decided to support her. She glowed with happiness, even started a business for which she obtained a loan from the bank. The thing that made me feel a bit disappointed was that she asked Alex, not me, to manage her finance. But I did hope for the best, and everything seemed fine. A few months later, I noticed that my mother was nervous, spent too much time talking with someone on the phone and even cried. I asked her what had happened and she told me that Alex had left her and taken all her money. He had deceived her. She was heartbroken. I asked her friends to support her while I would be looking for Alex. I found him in Hawaii. I was able to return her money, all of it. Mom got better but still looked upset. One evening, I saw her happy again. She said that she was happy because she had me, that her life was good. I felt she was lying to me. I asked her to tell me the truth, and she told me that Alex had returned, that he felt really sorry about what he had done to her, and that he was still madly in love with her. I was shocked to know that she had given him the money again. She explained that the money belonged to her and she had the right to do whatever she wanted with it. She also mentioned that I had to leave her lover alone. This was the last time she shared a secret with me. She kept saying that everything was fine. I met Alex again to talk to him. He acted brazenly and arrogantly, so I had to teach him a lesson with my fists. He laughed at me and said that I felt jealous of my mother and that I was insecure. I beat him and made him promise he would not hurt her. He also confessed that he was with her because of the money, that he didn't love her at all. I know that the situation is complicated. I know I can't make him love her, but I think I can make him respect her. If you enjoyed this story, please click the like button and leave your comments.
My name is Zoe. I live with my mother and we have a cat, Tom. My dad died when I was 5. I don't remember him. Mom is trying to make sure we don't need anything. I'm in 9th grade. We are best friends with my mom. We have no secrets, but she works a lot. Sometimes she comes when I am already asleep. Mom was recently promoted and we moved to a new neighborhood. She still works a lot. Also, something not ordinary happened to me. A couple of days ago, Mom said she was going to be late again, and so I went to the park near home picking up our cat. I was sitting on a bench and I didn't see a cat climb a tree. I tried to get her, it didn't work out, and I'm afraid of heights. And suddenly the guy passing by offered help. He helped to get a cat and after asked, "Am I local?" He would know. We met, his name is Dan, and he turned out to be my peer. He was very nice, communicative, and I didn't notice how fast the time passed. It was dark. I told me I should go. He offered to walk me. On the way, he showed his house. I looked and couldn't believe my eyes. There is my mom and a stranger around. They were standing and talking. The guy said it was his father, and there was a woman standing next to him. They have been dating for almost 6 months. I was shocked. He was surprised too when he found out she was my mom. I ran home. At first, I was angry that she hid the relationship from me. For a couple of days, I ignored her. She wanted to explain the reason for her secret, but I didn't listen. Then I realized I was just acting like a kid. As it turns out, my dad didn't die, but just abandoned us. He left for somebody else. And my mom didn't want to hurt me and hide it from me. I met my mom's new boyfriend, and I already knew Dan. We often visit each other. We have a lot in common with Dan. And after our parents got married, we moved in. Now we all live together. I have a peer brother.